Hi guys and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going for a really chilled out video. It's basically just a sit down and show stuff video, and today I'm going through my vinyl collection. Really original video, but it's just chill. It's some content for you guys and it'll be a bit of a depth into what music I listen to apart from Yungblud. So let's get into it. Okay, first off we've got All Distortions Are Intentional by Neck Deep. Banger of an album. It's got my favourite Neck Deep song on, Low Life. It's got some absolute bangers on it. Typical pop punk album, but really enjoyable. Highly recommend it. Next we've got Posthuman Survival Horror by Bring Me The Horizon. Cannot wait for their new album, and this was an EP, but this was so good. And it's got a Bay with Yungblud on it, it's got Parasite Eve, it's got Teardrops, it's got some absolute bangers, so make sure you check this out if you haven't already, and it's one of the best EPs I've ever listened to. Okay, so here we go, we've got one of three. So we've got Harry Styles' debut album. I personally think it's his weakest. I know his fans like to say that this is the best one, but I think it's the weakest. But Two Ghosts is a great song. Make sure you check it out. And it's Harry. He's one of the only like generic pop stars that I actually think makes good music. Next we've got my favourite Harry Styles album, Fine Line. Love this one. Absolute banger of an album. Track list is pretty stacked with enormous songs. So yeah, go and check this one out. I'm sure you've heard this. Even if it's unintentionally, I'm sure you've heard this. We've got the most recent one, Harry Styles' Harry's House. Now this, I wasn't too sure about this when it first came out, but it has really grown on me and I love the majority of the songs, but it has got some of the weakest ones on there. Grape Juice, I Look At You. Next we've got a band from my childhood. Very well-known band back in the day, and obviously they've got songs like Chasing Cars and stuff like that. It's Final Straw by Snow Patrol. Really good songs on here. Chocolate is one of my favourites. Banger of an album. Okay, here we go. We have got Eyes Open by Snow Patrol. This actually got my favourite Snow Patrol song of all time on You Could Be Happy. Love that song. Okay, now we've got an absolute classic. Not a favourite band of mine, not songs that I listen to very often, but very well known and complete icons. Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. Even if you hate Pink Floyd and everything they're about, you cannot deny this album was revolutionary. It has got some incredible songs on there. So if you haven't checked out this classic, make sure you do. Okay, so we've got Billie Eilish debut EP. It's alright. Obviously it's got Ocean Eyes and stuff like that on it. It's like the original thing that Billie came onto the scene with. It's not her best work, this is what her best work is. So I think I've mentioned on the channel before that I'm not actually a massive fan of Billie Eilish anymore, but when this album came out I was obsessed. I didn't really know her before she dropped songs like Bad Guy and When the Party's Over and stuff like that. This album is amazing. I still think it's amazing, even though my opinion of her has changed a little bit. I think that is one of the coolest looking album covers of all time as well, but songs like Zanny, which makes it sound so cool to not take drugs. Just things like that is revolutionary in music these days, because most of the time it's fucking emo twats just going like, oh, take so much Xanax, kill yourself. Shut up. Right, I think this guy is one of the worst pieces of shit that has ever been allowed into music, but two very iconic albums. We've got Thriller by Michael Jackson, and yes, I do believe the man that had a fun fair in his back garden was a paedophile. Shoot me. Classic album, can't really say much more. And obviously we got Bad, because Smooth Criminal is one of the best pop songs ever made. Separate the art from the person. Okay, here's two albums by one of the best vocalists that we've got that's turned into a greedy sellout cunt. Yes, I'm on about Adele. I bought these vinyls way back in the day. Adele 21 has got some great songs in it. Adele 25 has got some great songs on it. I've had them for ages. I haven't listened to them in about 5 years. She was incredible. Now she thinks it's acceptable to charge 40 grand for front row tickets. We've got another classic album. These, I've only just realised how long ago I started buying vinyls. This is a proper classic. Tea for the Tillerman by Cat Stevens. Bit of a hidden gem that in my collection, to be fair. I forgot I had that. Now, I have this album for one reason and one reason only. Peter Gabriel. So, and that one reason is purely for Sledgehammer. One of the best songs ever made. Sledgehammer. Okay, now we got two albums from someone who I'm not a huge fan of. I think he's a bit of a prick. I definitely think he's got some sort of fucking anger problems. Life for Dark Rose by Lil Skies. he's got some bangers on these. He's got Lust, he's got Nowadays, he's got Red Roses. Some absolute classics, especially if you watch Lyrical Lemonade. Yeah, when he came out with this, he was definitely a big name in rap. Now I think he has fell off a little bit, but because of the best reason, he became a dad and he dedicated his time to that. So I really think is a reason to support him. He still makes decent music. Yes, he's not making stuff like Nowadays and Lust and and stuff like that, but he is making decent music, as you'll find out with this album, Unbothered, which I think is really underrated. This album apparently flopped when it came out, but I think Take 5 is one of his best singles, and Dead Broke's a pretty good song as well. Check out this album if you haven't already. It is a decent listen. Yes, he's a bit of a one-trick pony. He's got that very smooth style where you might think that his songs sound the same and sound a bit basic. If you like a consistent, chilled out listen, give Lil Skies a go. And now I've gotten someone who I think he is one of the best rappers that has ever lived, but rap's a genre that I find extremely overrated. And I find this artist very overrated on the later stuff. And I completely blame the label for that. They should have stopped with Legends Never Die. It was a perfect way to end it after Juice died. But they didn't. And now so much of his music, we're talking well over 50%, has been released after he died. And it's just such a shame because they've exploited the fuck out of someone who actually was amazing. We've got Goodbye and Good Riddance by Juice WRLD. Great album. Obviously, yes, songs like Lucid Dreams and All Girls Are the Same are very overplayed, but it's still a great listen. This used to be my favourite album by Juice WRLD, but I do slightly prefer Legends Never Die. We've got Death Race for Love. Now, this is still a great album. It's still got some really chilled, cool songs like Fast on there, but I do think Legends Never Die is a more consistent listen. Talking of which, this has my all-time favourite Juice song on, Life's a Mess with Halsey, even though I'm not a big Halsey fan, to be fair. And no, that's not because she used to date Yungblud, it's just because I think she's a bit of a bitch. Legends Never Die, sadly they do. Regret buying this, don't know why it was made, bad album. Can't really mince my words with that. I genuinely think this is a bad album. Cigarettes was alright. Honestly think the last decent song that Juice put out was with Justin Bieber. Yeah. Okay, now we're getting into some albums. We have got Slipknot's original debut album. This is the best Slipknot album ever. I know everyone prefers Iowa. It's all about this one for me. And there should be something coming very soon connected to Slipknot, which I will definitely make a video of. The reason my throat's so croaky, I'm fucking ill, alright? Okay, now we've got to an album that's a classic, everyone loves it, I find it overrated personally, but it's still great. We've got Iowa by Slipknot, and sorry it's so shiny, but yeah. Overrated, but still great, so please don't hate me. Unfortunately, I haven't got all the Slipknot vinyls yet because I'm poor. We go to All Hope Is Gone, which I just got for an anniversary present. Thank you, my love. One of the weaker albums, but the last one Jerry was in, obviously it's got Psychosocial on it, so it was a popular one. I know the band isn't a big fan of this one, but being one of Slipknot's worst albums is still a pretty good album. Now we've got We Are Not Your Kind. I like this one, I don't love it. I find it one of the most basic listens and even to a point somewhat anonymous. It is still a great listen. When Slipknot is all pulling together, all doing the most, it sounds incredible in typical Slipknot fashion. I like it every so often. I love the Dying Song. I think the Dying Song's one of the best singles. Yen, great song. Chaptown Rag, Warranty. Acidic's okay, it's a bit annoying in parts. This album was rushed, the band admitted it. But it did well, I just really hope it's not the last one. Okay, we've got an absolute classic of an album, one that I just very recently bought. Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park. R.I.P. to Chester, incredible vocalist. Up there with the greats. Now one of the most famous but revolutionary pop punk albums of all time. Enema of the State by Blink-182. I love this album. It's so much fun. it was when Blink were absolutely in their prime, and it's just a fun, angsty, teen bop of an album. Very enjoyable. Okay, now we're getting into a bit of a haul of vinyls. We've got 21st Century Liability by Yungblud. Great album, but a bit of a weird one. If he made it now, which it sounds like it pretty much is at the minute, it would be a lot better, but it's definitely still got some of my favourite Yungblud tracks on it. Yungblud's live album, Live at Atlanta. I haven't listened to this yet. I see it's still in cling film or whatever it is. The best project Yungblud has ever put out. The Hope for Underrated Youth EP is the best. Every single song. So we've got Brain Dead, absolutely banging tune. Parents, overrated, but it's to a point it's a classic now. Original Me with Dan Reynolds from Imagine Dragons. I can't believe a song with Imagine Dragons connected to it is that good. Casual Sabotage, I really like it. I think it's class. I think it's beautiful. It's one of Yungblud's sad but somewhat optimistic ones. Hope for Underrated Youth is his masterpiece. That song is so important and needs to be heard. Waiting on the Weekend, so underrated. Beautiful little acoustic tune. Okay, now we've got a signed with a message written on it. You're stronger than you think, don't forget it. I got this on eBay. This was not written to me, but I saw that message on it and I was just like, oh, that's cool, so I just bought it. I've got quite a few Yungblud vinyls. I've got 3 framed over there because they're signed. I've just got my standard Weird vinyl. Yeah, I didn't get my opinion on Weird just then. It's Yungblud's masterpiece. I don't think he'll ever make an album as good as this, but that is a hard bar to meet, especially when it's one of your first. You're just completely bare in your soul and you've got brand new ideas. Sometimes people haven't got 19 years of experience to write about, and in Weird he did. Okay, now we've got his self-titled album. This one for me has worn off, but I still love it. There's definitely things that for me have gone down in my rankings over time. Songs like Memories with Willow, yes, when it came out I was so relieved that it wasn't like Emo Girl and Machine Gun Kelly. It's just a pop song in it. But it has still got some highlights like Sweet Heroin, Boy in the Black Dress, Tissues, Don't Feel Like Feeling Sad Today, Sex Not Violence, Don't Go, Cruel Kids. Like, there's still some fucking bangers on there. Fuck me, I've got too many. How many Yungblud ones did I buy? Right, so picture disc version of the self-titled album, and then him sticking his tongue out, shock. This is one of my favourites, the UK edition of his self-titled one. I think that's a really cool looking vinyl. And the deluxe edition, which the only things that are added on is the Funeral acoustic and the Funeral live at the Shrine. The Funeral isn't one of my favourite songs, so I'll just listen to the normal album. Okay, an album that I did not expect to be as good as it was, and just something that I love being able to hold as a vinyl. I never thought this would be a thing. KSI All Over the Place. This album's got some fucking bangers on it. We've got The Moment, we've got Patience with Yungblud and Polo G, we've got Don't Play, No Time, Really Love. Like, there's some fucking class songs on here. We have got Let Go by Avril Lavigne. Classic album, really enjoy it. It's called Skater Boy, it's a pop punk classic. Whether people counter as pop punk or not, I do not give a fuck. Okay, now for an artist for me who has completely gone down in my estimations. Every time I see him, he's just acting more and more of a dickhead. That is Machine Gun Kelly. We've got Hotel Diablo, but this still got some banging tunes on it. Burning Memories with Lil Skies is so underrated, probably his most underrated tune of all time. I Think I'm Okay with Yungblud, that's fucking, it's set in stone, the legacy of that song now. Glass House, Floor 13, he's got some class songs on here. Tickets to My Downfall. I think this, like some other albums I've said in this list already, this album is now a pop punk classic, whether you like it or not, it is. I just wish it had Body Bag with Yungblud on it, because that is the best of their 3 songs. Mainstream Sellout. When it came out, I was like, this is mid as fuck. Then I was like, oh, it's better than I thought. This is a bit of a shitty album, to be honest. Maybe We Bring With Horizons, pretty good. Die in California with Gunner and Young Thug. That's one of the highlights. A with Lil Wayne, again one of the highlights, but the best, Born with Horns. That's probably the only song on there that I would say is really good. Okay, now we've got Liam Gallagher's first album, As You Were. Great album, bold, beautiful song. Now we've got Liam Gallagher, Why Me, Why Not. Fucking love One of Us on this. Liam Gallagher, Come On You Know. This album is actually probably my favourite of his 3 solo albums. Everything's Electric rivals so many Oasis songs for me. Banging album. We are getting pretty much towards the end of the pile now, but we have got Definitely Maybe by Oasis. Legendary album. But if you want even more legendary, we have got What's the Story, Morning Glory by Oasis. This album's up there with things like Abbey Road and Nevermind by Nirvana. That's the sort of level that those albums are on. And rightly so, they're fucking classics. Talking of a fucking classic, we have got Nevermind the Bollocks by the Sex Pistols. Legendary album. It's still the image of punk today. Everyone who likes punk music knows about the Sex Pistols, listens to the Sex Pistols, still idolises them. Absolute icons of a generation. Okay, talking of Nevermind by Nirvana. Now, yes, I did cover it up. I know it's popular to say this album's overhyped. No, it's not. It's really not, is it? It's a great album. Smells Like Teen Spirit is one of the best introductions ever on an album. Something in the Way is one of the most quiet but grand songs ever made. It's also one of the most evil sounding songs of all time. It's got some great songs on here. Now we've got Nirvana's Best Hits album, and I love this one as well. It's one of the most well done Best Hits albums I've ever heard. Okay, now we've got In Utero by Nirvana. Love this one as well. It's Nirvana, I love it. Is it as good as Nevermind? For me, no, but I do still love it. Another classic punk album, we've got London Calling by The Clash. Great band, and London Calling as a song is one of the best songs of all time. Okay, last 2, we have got Easy Life's second album. Didn't like this much the first. Obviously, I went to see Easy Life about, it's gotta be like nearly 3 years ago. They were class. Loved the first album. This is alright. It's okay. It's just a bit like the first one, but stretched out, more experimental. I could see why some people would prefer it, but for me, Easy Life have got a bit of a basic indie sound at the best of times, so trying to make it sound like something that it isn't, doesn't really work for me. But their new song, or one of their new songs, Palm Tree Days, I really like that one. So, and this one, the coolest finals I've got. As I said, I loved Easy Life's first album, Life's a Beach, and I have got one that's been signed by all the bands, so pretty cool album to have. That was me going through my vinyl collection, so thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you very soon. See you later.